Wow, you guys. Hello. Thank you all so much for coming. Thanks for being early. Thanks for being awesome cyclists. Thank you so much to all the volunteers and APL leading riders for being here, and Chris for helping make this event so special and amazing so far. I think it's going to be the best event yet. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. This is definitely the biggest turnout. We usually have an average of 60 folks. Also, we have like background sounds because we're usually at a cafe or brewery type place, and so it's not like as much pressure. I can't hear myself from every perfect little angle of the library here. My name's Valerie. Don't know if I said that yet, but Valerie! I am creator-producer of Bike Story Night. Jordan back here is my co-producer of this event. Really couldn't happen without him and all the wonderful volunteers. We didn't get a chance to pick up a program. We have one at the front so that you can kind of get a list of the run of show. We also have just a note about Bike Story Night, as well as the Major Taylor logo, and of course thank you to our partners there. You can always go to our website to learn more. I think usually people, how many people have never been to Bike Story Night before? How many people have been to Bike Story Night 15 times? This is our 16th event. It's so exciting to be having our 16th event within almost 4 years at Austin Public Library, the central location in the special events room. I can't tell you, I'm sure this is a dream. Super excited to be here. We have several storytellers lined up. We usually have a few more at Bike Story Night. We have just a few less this time around, and then we'll have our nonprofit. We also have an opportunity for you all who came and didn't sign up in advance to sign up as a wild card. You have a little bit less time. You don't get to share your photos because we didn't snag those in advance, but there is a chance for you. Is anyone kind of thinking about it? Just yay, okay. Just wanna twist your arm a little bit. There's a form over there with Willow and Cece. They're waving at our table. There's some cute swag there too if you haven't gotten any. So Bike Story Night started as sort of an idea, goal, dream of mine during the beginning of the pandemic when I had a little bit of chance to slow down. I've been a community organizer for nonprofits for many, many years before Bike Story Night, and it just sort of was time, I think, for me to do something a little bit more for myself. And so I didn't know it at the time, but I sat down with myself and I started thinking, you know, what do I love doing? What do I want to do? Hopefully we can go, back to gathering. And slowly but surely I was kind of putting things together, and I didn't know it, but I learned this thing called Ikigai. Have y'all heard of Ikigai? Definitely recommend that you look into that and learn more about what really makes you happy and what your purpose is, because I think it's an extraordinary thing to do as a human if you have a little bit of time. It's really, really been fulfilling for me to put this event together and continue to host. And again, we are at the freaking special events room. Here we are. So I'm so glad. Bikes mean a lot to me, and I'm so glad that this event is continuing to have interest, especially more and more interest, it seems. Yeah, that's kind of my basic spiel. I want to keep doing this. I want to keep doing one-on-one interviews. I have a pop-up coming up November 30th, so be sure to follow us if you're not on social media. Check out our website. There's a QR code here on the program. I'm so excited for these stories that are coming up. But first, I'm gonna have Chris from APL, who manages the special events room, come up and share more about what's going on at APL.
I'm going to pretend to be tall. It's a night of pretending, right? Okay. Hi, I'm Chris. I am the program coordinator here at Austin Central Library. I don't know what that means. It changes day to day. But primarily it means putting on events for adults. That means sometimes our smaller events like book clubs, and sometimes that means this great big event for you guys where we partner with folks. So, sorry, I just put out more chairs. Which is not a bad thing, right? That's a great thing. So, I'm not going to waste a lot of your time listening to me. There's been some great storytellers I know. So, I will say that bringing this event here for me was really exciting because I believe in storytelling, working for the library, and bikes have a special place to me, especially in Austin. When I moved here 20 years ago with a partner who had a vehicle, I was then, dumped, as it usually happens, right, about a month later, and I had to figure out how to get around, and I got my first bike since I had been like 13, and I learned the streets of Austin, for good and bad, riding my bike around town. So bringing together stories, bike riders in this town has a special place in my heart. So thank you so much for being bike lovers, being Austin lovers, being storyteller lovers. So, if you're interested in learning more about programs we have for adults at Austin Public Library, the central brochure is in the back. On the back of it is a QR code for finding out events throughout the whole system. Some of you may live north and you regularly go to Yarborough, or you live south and you regularly go to Manchac. They also have great events, so you can check that out. My turn for the quiz. How many people have a library card? Okay. If you want to learn more about getting one, you can do that. Kate in the back can talk about it, or you can find me, or you can come back and visit, and we can tell you about that. My time is up. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Enjoy.
One thing I did, Chris reminded me, I wanted to remember, didn't remember at the time, but one thing about the library and bikes is that they're kind of similar in that they can take you anywhere, and I think that's really magical. So again, we're at APL, and again, bikes and the library, just like what an amazing combination. And wildcard form, there's somebody who already signed up. So we want to hear more stories. We have 3, but first we're going to hear from our featured nonprofit. We have Dalton Savoy, who's going to come up to talk about Major Taylor and share more about what they got going on. Then we'll have the featured storytellers. Dalton?
Good evening, everybody. I'm not Chris Maldonado, who was originally supposed to speak, but he has some stuff going on and he couldn't make it, so here I am. I'm riding with Major Taylor Austin. We are mostly out in Round Rock, Texas. We started in 2015 as a small group doing group rides out in Round Rock area. Anyway, a little bit about me. I started cycling back in 2013 with a group called ABC Home and Commercial Services. It was a group of people that would ride, and they would always ride, and I would do like the SAG vehicle at the the sponsored rides. They would do the Tour de Cure each year. And so every year I go out and I'll do the side vehicle, and every year they'd be like, hey, Dawson, you need to get a bike, you need to get a bike, come on, get a bike. And I was like, yeah, I'll get a bike eventually. So eventually came, I got a bike, I started riding, that was in 2013, been riding ever since. I connected with Major Taylor in 2019, and that's when I found out about Marshall Taylor. And then I have a question. Does anybody know who Marshall Major Taylor is? All right, so Marshall Major Taylor was a championship cyclist back in the 1890s in the Jim Crow era, where nobody else that looked like him was out there racing. He faced lots of adversity during the bike rides because of his talent. When he would go out to these races, he would floor the competition. He was beating guys so bad to the fact that they basically tried to hurt him, run him off the road, and keep him from winning at all costs, which is kind of rough. You guys think fighting traffic right now is bad. Try riding a bike in 1899 with racist people trying to kill you every mile that you're taking. So yeah, Major Taylor has inspired me to be a better cyclist, and the drive that he had when he would go out and face that adversity. You know, sometimes we complain about riding in the rain, riding in the wind. This guy was riding against racism. And he inspired 256 cycling clubs across the world. Major Taylor's not just in Texas. We have Texas chapters, we have chapters all across the country, and we also have chapters across the world. In Texas, we have about 5 groups. We have a Houston group, San Antonio, Dallas, and then Austin. These are some of our Austin groups here. This one here in the pink, this is the Mama Jamma ride we do for the pink bus. We do that every year as a group to try to raise money for mammograms and those things. Yeah, so that's what we need to do. Wow, that's a lot of people in there. We do have a Facebook page. It's Major Taylor Austin on Facebook. We also have Strava. I don't know if any of you guys are on Strava or anything. But if you're on Strava, we do have a Strava group, and you can find our group rides that we do if you want to come out and ride with us. We're actually doing one on this Sunday at 8 o'clock from Ben E. Fisher Park, which is in Maynard, Texas. Some of y'all know it as the Southern Walnut Creek Trail. Ben E. Fisher is in Maynard, and we'll ride from Maynard down south. So if anybody wants to come join, you guys come on out and come out. We're also doing a birthday ride. Major Taylor's birthday is November 24th, so we'll be doing a ride for that also. If you guys want to sign up and come do that ride with us, you can also find that on the Strava page or the Facebook page. It's not on Strava yet, but I'll get it posted here shortly, so if anybody wants to come out, definitely come out. I think that's all I have for now, and thank you guys.
Some of you might recognize me. I spoke at the last bike story night. And now I get the exciting privilege to introduce our first storyteller to you. So I want everyone to put your hands together for Julie. She's going to be telling us about her experience with e-bikes after riding in Austin for 30 years, which deserves a round of applause. She also makes these zines, too, of So if you are interested in picking up her scenes, be sure to talk to her after or during intermission. I don't know if you have an intermission after Bike Story Night. So everyone, please, please, please give a warm welcome to Julie.
30 years and I'm not dead yet, so that's pretty good, right? Yeah. Thanks to Valerie and thanks to all of you. This is an amazing event that I never heard of until about 3 weeks ago, so I'm really excited to be here. Okay, so this, can you guys hear me? I'm not much of a public speaker. Okay, great. So this is a story about e-bikes, but also regular bikes and self-doubt and self-acceptance. So I've been riding a bike in Austin since 1994, back when the city had a primitive bike lane system, but also far less traffic and arguably fewer homicidal drivers. It was a challenge to live without a car in Austin even then, but cheap rent meant I could easily afford a shared apartment that was a block from the #1 bus line and 3 miles straight shot to the drag where I worked. Meeting a guy who didn't have a car either didn't make the day-to-day any more convenient, but we had a lot of fun. One of our main forms of entertainment was to ride around the city together at night, stopping to crash apartment pools and have picnics on the golf course. We were pretty broke, but it was about very idyllic. I was young and strong, and I was fiercely proud to be able to conduct my life without a car. All I needed for nearly 6 years was my bike, my legs, and a monthly cab metro pass. Eventually, I got a little older, and Austin got a little bigger. The bike guy and I got married, and I got a better paying job and a car. I still rode on nice days, though, for exercise and fun, and to take one more car off the road. After a while, we were able to buy a house, but only if we moved farther away from central Austin. In addition to being several miles away from downtown, this house was also at the bottom of a very steep hill. This was a problem, because I hate riding uphill. Even at the peak of my cycling fitness, when I rode nearly every day, I never liked going up hills. I would curse them with every pump of the pass. I hate this hill. And even when I went downhill, I would think, I just have to go back up this later. It was, but I still intended to ride. I really, really did. But like 4 times out of 5, I backed my car out of the garage so I could get my bike out of the garage. And I'd look up the hill. And I'd just keep backing out of the driveway and turn onto the road and keep going because, I mean, I felt bad about it, but it was just so much easier to keep driving. So, I think over time, a lot of us develop this mismatch between who we are and who we think we ought to be. In my heart, I still wanted to be this badass daily cyclist, dodging traffic and propelling myself around the city with my shapely calves. In reality, though, I was hardly riding at all. I was a driver. I was a fool. This was painful to confront. One thing you do eventually learn, though, is that in order to not make yourself insane, you have to accept the mismatch. And then it's okay to put away the parts that don't fit anymore to make room for the parts that do. Okay, so fine. I'm a driver, I'm a wimp. But I still love to ride for fun, and I wanted to be able to get around without being entirely dependent on a car. This was important to me, even as work clothes and hot weather and that giant stupid hill got in the way of those values. I've been intrigued by the idea of electric bikes for a long time. The seed was planted when I rented one in 2009 in Japan. It was a great experience, even though the technology wasn't nearly as sophisticated as it is now. The motor wasn't integrated with the pedals that well, so the ride was a little rough. Still, I could see the possibilities as I rode around the city. I never would have gotten to all these places on foot or on public transit, but on bikes, you can get just about anywhere. Still, I internalized the sneering about e-bikes being cheating. And about foregoing the workout that pedaling without assistance would be a thing. E-bikes were definitely not for badasses. Riding would be a confession that I just wasn't willing to put much effort into cycling. But wouldn't riding an electric bike some of the time be riding a regular bike almost none of the time? Wasn't I objectively a middle-aged woman who could avail herself of a little assistance? If you think I sound super defensive, you're getting it. And the messed up thing is all those objections came from within. Nobody was telling me these things. What is that awful voice inside? You guys know that just kind of won't let you be who you really want to be? So, after far too much self-doubt and navel-gazing for what in the end amounted to a simple consumer preference, I was finally able to peel away the stubborn myth that was holding me back and gave myself permission to buy an electric bike. Woo! Yay! about the different classes of e-bikes, which I touched on in the zine, comes to me afterwards. So I focused on class 1, which tops out at 20 miles an hour and doesn't have a throttle, because I still wanted to pedal. Plus the debris in the bike lanes and the chronic inattention of Austin drivers made the idea of going 25 miles an hour, which is the top speed of electric bikes, just a little daunting. As I was researching, a friend of a friend popped up with a lightly used Trek e-bike, and it was an incredible deal. So I jumped on it literally. And it immediately clicked for me. This was exactly what I'd been wanting. It felt like a firm and benevolent hand was pushing me along farther and faster, and it was virtually a hill racer. So it gave me everything I love about cycling: freedom, autonomy, the ability to acquaint yourself with your city at this fine-grained, intimate level. And crucially, it took away everything I didn't love about cycling. I am not exaggerating when I say it changed my life to get on a bike and not drag fighting up the hill on my street. Not only that, riding with some motor assist is extremely enjoyable. There are a lot of advantages to e-bikes: the increased range, the speed, the ease with which you can haul cargo. But the number one reason I love e-bikes so much is that they're so damn fun. On a straightaway, you almost feel like you're flying. So, as you might be able to tell, I became a bit evangelical on the subject. I wanted everyone to have this amazing feeling for themselves. I made a mini-zine extolling their virtues. Again, come see me. I made all my friends try riding mine, even if they were a little reluctant. And a couple of them were so impressed they went out and bought their own. I got the e-bike about 5 years ago, and I've put about 3,500 miles on it. And I almost always ride when it makes sense to now. To run errands, visit friends, work out at the pool. I ride to work at least a couple times a month when I'm not working late nights. Austin's biking infrastructure is a lot better now than it was in 1994, but it still has a long way to go, so I have to kind of time it. So whatever fitness benefits are lost by not having to pedal as hard are made up for with increased frequency and distance. I even deliver meals on wheels on the e-bike. They were supportive of my bike plan and gave me a route that was close to home and all within one apartment complex, so I only had to lock up once. And I'll make an aside: if you're looking for an easy and meaningful way to volunteer, give them a call, because they do really great work with what they have. So having an e-bike has indisputably made my life better in so many ways. Why did I make myself wait so long for something wonderful? Just to hang on to an outdated image of myself that was probably never accurate in the first place. Anyway, e-bike life, though fantastic, isn't perfect. I mean, the idea of riding any sort of conveyance outside in the Texas heat without breaking a sweat is laughable. Still, the motor assistance means that it's tolerable to ride in all but the very hottest weather. I just keep body wipes at the office for when I roll in smelling like a sunscreen glazed goat. So you guys don't need me probably to enumerate the rest of the benefits of e-bikes, because they are also the benefits of riding any bike. But I want to say, if there's something that is keeping you or someone you love from riding, if that's age, pain, fatigue, and irrational loathing of hills, an e-bike just might be the answer. Mine has made my life richer, and it's allowed to see myself with new clarity. A sometimes wimpy, sometimes badass cyclist who has Austin as her oyster, as long as it's less than 100 degrees outside.
Hello everyone. Give it up again for Julie, please. Hello, my name is Hector, and I'm just Mexican and I love bikes. Those are my credentials. And I have the honor of introducing today Kit. So let me switch to that NPR voice and let's go with this. Kit O'Connell, pronouns they them. He's a former digital editor at the Texas Observer. They are a movement journalist for hire, community organizer, and trans queerdo from Austin. You can find Kit's work at kitoconnell.com and support their journalism at patreon.com/KitO'Connell. Please welcome to the Bike Story Night stage, Kit O'Connell, please.
try to get right up to this microphone. Hi, so my name is Kit O'Connell. I use they, them pronouns. Thank you, Hector. I'm a trans, queer, non-binary movement journalist, and like Julie, I also ride an e-bike. Actually, I really appreciate Julie getting all the defensiveness about the e-bike out of the way, because I can just cut it out myself. So. I guess I've been an activist basically since I was a baby. My mother used to take me to anti-war and anti-death penalty protests from the time I was an infant, literally. It took me a lot longer to ride a bike, actually till I was like probably 11 or 12. I didn't learn to ride a bike. And I didn't start really riding everywhere until after I moved to Austin in 1998. And that's when I really discovered just like how freeing it is to get onto two wheels. And I've never actually had a driver's license, so really all of my transportation needs for a long time were covered by the bus and my bike and the two together. I kind of lost and rediscovered my love of riding and how important that freedom was over the years. I moved out of Austin to much less bike-friendly cities. I came back here and I started riding again, but somewhere along the way, I don't know, I got depressed, I got anxious, life got in the way. There was this whole pandemic that's still going on, and somewhere in there I stopped really riding very often at all. And it's really only been this last year that I've rediscovered just how much I love to ride and how important it is for me to ride. I bought an e-bike in April, and I've put 1,500 miles. It ticked over tonight when I rode here. And that's just riding around the city. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about, I guess let's do the next slide here. There I am riding around town. Let's do the next one too. All right, cool, here we go. So I want to talk, what you're seeing up here is the Occupy Austin movement, which was a activist protest movement that erupted all around the country, but in Austin in 2011. It was an extension of the Occupy Wall Street movement that started in New York. And it was a protest against systematic inequality, against political corruption, against the banks getting bailed out while a lot of people lost their homes in a financial crash, and just kind of the way that capitalism grinds us all down and destroys our common humanity. And it was really powerful. We were in solidarity, not just with people all around the country, but people all around the world, in Europe and the Middle East, that were also protesting at the same time. In the US, we had permanent camps in dozens of cities around the country. If you've been to City Hall here in Austin, there's those amphitheater steps to the left, or next to the entrance. And there was a camp there for almost 6 months, continuously, 24/7. People protesting and just living their lives there as part of a temporary community. It was really beautiful. There's a moment that I like to use as an example. It was Halloween weekend in 2011, and the police had created this arbitrary curfew after which you were not allowed to feed people. You couldn't share food after like 10 p.m. And people decided, like, excuse me, but fuck that. Like, we're gonna share food with each other. We feel like that. There were dozens of arrests that night just for sharing food and refusing to back down, essentially. And that's part of what really drew me to be a participant, was hearing about this. And I remember marching down to the jail when we were waiting, the Travis County Jail, we were waiting for people to get out. And that's when we heard that the news about the arrests had spread on social media, and it had reached protesters in Egypt, and they had marched on the US Embassy on behalf of us in Austin. That was like magical. Like, it felt like anything was possible. We could overthrow capitalism, we could win. Of course, the police eventually came down on these movements all around the world and in the US. And of course, democratic cities sometimes faced some of the most vicious crackdowns, including Austin, New York, places like that, Chicago. Oof, don't get me started on theirs. But getting involved in this protest movement, covering the crackdowns on it, that's what launched my journalism career. So what we're looking at here is a group of people marching, and one of the things that Valerie asked us to do is to talk about our inspirations. I've already mentioned my mom, but this kid up here, this is Nathan. He was like 15 or something, maybe even younger at the time, and he had, as you can see here, this is like a really early German e-bike. Back in 2011, they were really expensive. None of us could afford them. None of us even knew what they wore until this kid showed up with them. His parents were doctors or something, and he used that privilege to help us out. He would scout out the police. He would have like the police scanner going on his earphone. This kid was there for us. He was so there for us that somebody actually turned him into CPS in retaliation. But he kept coming around even after he got grounded. So I think there's another slide you can show of Nathan here. Yeah, there he is right at the front with another friend. If you're not familiar, riding a bike can be actually really useful during a protest. You can control traffic, you can scout for cops, you can look what's happening in the area around you. There's just a lot of possibilities there. So anyway, so I guess I wanted to talk about, I talked about Nathan here. I want to talk about myself though a little bit and what my beliefs are as a journalist. So what is a movement journalist? To me, it's someone who's involved in the causes that I believe in. I don't pretend to be neutral. I don't pretend that I don't have biases. I try to instead be open about my biases. And for me, that's human rights, ending the destruction of the earth, total liberation for all who face oppression, including queer and trans people, black and brown people, indigenous people, you name it, I want liberation. And I know that we have to transform society to get there, so it's a tall order. And I feel like by being myself and being open about this, you know who I am, and I still try to bring you the facts as the best I can, but you also know what I believe in, and so that helps you approach my stories. So, how did I get back to riding? I stopped riding for a long time, and a couple of years ago, I got what was basically my dream journalism job. It lasted for about 2 years, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but journalism is a mess right now. And I got laid off in February of this year. I got some severance though, and that's how I got the e-bike. And I'd known for a while that I needed to transform my life, that I was too sedentary, that I was just like trapped in these four walls too much of the time. 2 minutes, all right. And so that's what got me to get this e-bike. So I ride, let's do the next slide. Next slide, all right, thank you. All right, so I ride a mod bike, City Plus. It's an e-bike. It's a hybrid. Gets about 35 or 40 miles per charge. And I can carry a lot of cargo on it. And I think about Nathan a lot when I'm zipping around past traffic to get to an interview, or like I'm delivering bottled water to my friends waiting outside the jail for other people to get out who've been arrested. I think about all the possibilities that the bike opens up for me. And I realize now that I'm like happiest when I'm on the trails, when I'm outside every day, preferably on the green belts, away from cars, hopefully. And I hope I never stop moving. My dad is almost 80 and he still rides his bike. So I hope I can follow that example and just never stop moving. And I hope I can keep giving a platform to people who have voices, but they might not be heard without my help. And since I've got like a minute left, I want to leave you with a few words of wisdom from my experience. I think a lot of you are probably a little bit freaked out right now about this political moment. I'm very freaked out about this political moment. I'm trans, I'm gay, I'm a journalist. I can't promise we're all going to be okay through this next time period. We really don't know. But I believe that we're stronger together, that all we have is each other. And if we keep speaking out and acting lovingly and bravely and keep using our talents, whatever they are, that we'll be better. The protests aren't going to look like Occupy tomorrow. Too much has changed. But there's going to be people out there fighting for liberation. There's so many ways to help. You can feed people. You can put up stickers. There's wheat paste. It's just getting to know people. So anyway, my advice to you is keep moving, stay free, stay alive, cause a ruckus, and remember to touch grass. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Everybody enjoying stories so far? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm here to introduce our third speaker. This is Thomas Epling. He comes to us from Houston, where he was the shop manager for the B-Cycle in Houston. Now that he's been in Austin, he's been working on youth cyclists and safety riding with Gasalo Cycling. And he's also been simultaneously building up his own frame building business, Stellar Works. So give it up for Thomas.
Hello. Is it just me or is everyone nervous? So this story is about going to frame building school. It was 2016, and 6 months after graduating, from college, I was still trying to get a job in my field. For what felt like forever, I had been applying at jobs, writing cover letters, and getting nowhere, it felt like. After lots of rejections and 0 interviews, I was feeling pretty defeated, right? And the only thing keeping me sane during this time was riding my bike. When I wasn't browsing job listings, I was going on rides, reading bike blogs, or hunting for parts on Craigslist. It was like consuming my life, right? So one day after the most recent rejection email, I had the thought, I love everything about bicycles. Why don't I try to work with bikes? Losing my place here. But what would I do exactly, right? There's so many jobs. And at the time, I knew about handmade bikes. I admired the craft and creativity that goes into a custom bicycle. I liked working with my hands, so frame building seemed to be the thing I wanted to focus on. But how do you even become a bicycle frame builder? A short Google search later, and I discovered that there were a few frame building schools in the US, and that's where I found the Yamaguchi School. Hey, look at that. So the school is named after its founder and master frame builder, Koichi Yamaguchi. If you're a bike lover and you've never heard this guy's name before, you're not alone. I had never heard his name before reading his website, but after reading his history, I quickly knew this was a school I wanted to go to. Among many accolades, Koichi was the first official frame builder for the US Olympic cycling team. And more importantly for me, he was a master at making lug steel bicycles, which is exactly what I wanted to learn to make. So, convinced I found my sensei, I paid for the class and planned my trip. I can do the next slide. So, the school is in Koichi's home in Rifle, Colorado, 3.5 hours west of Denver, and pretty much in the middle of nowhere. In order to get there, I had to take a plane to Denver, I hopped on a shuttle 3 hours to Glenwood, and then caught a bus to Rifle. When I got there, it felt like I was back in Texas. The police cars had Winchester rifles painted on their sides. The neighbors often had guns on their hips because there was open carry. And there was even a place called Shooter's Grill where all of the staff had pistols on their hips for some reason. The burger was not really good. Also, a fun fact, turns out that Lauren Boebert owns that restaurant, so don't go there. Where am I? So after hours of travel and trudging through the snow, which you just saw, I made it to the only hotel in town, and I settled into my room and wondered what the next few weeks would be like with Koichi. each class has a cap of 3 students, and Koichi's the only teacher. I found, or when I arrived in the morning at 8 a.m., I found that I was the only student in his class. I was pretty stoked because now I'm like working with the master one-on-one. Pretty sweet. And I guess I was the only one willing to go to Colorado when the temperatures were like 20 degrees. It wasn't so great. The first day, we ended up chatting and getting to know each other a little bit. I learned about Koichi's upbringing in Japan, his path to frame building, and how working as a mechanic for Shimano led him to the Olympic team. Koichi was happy to hear that I was working as a bike mechanic at the time, and promised that we would drink coffee all day, as that is what mechanics do, according to Koichi. Here's his shop. It's insane. It's like in an old horse barn that he converted into a shop. No horses were harmed. And it's just like plastered with all sorts of awesome memorabilia. There's me starting the stuff. So over the next 2 weeks, my life was all things frame building, and it was awesome. I learned about frame design, geometry, and bike fitting. I learned how to measure and cut tubes and miter them to the proper angle. This frame here is like set up in a jig after it's been cut and all that. And everything we did was by hand. Koichi learned to do that, and that's how he built for many years, and so that's how he taught his students, right? So we're cutting the tubes with a handsaw, we're shaping the miters with a hand file. It was pretty tiring. Koichi, I was also pretty slow, not very good, but Koichi would inspect my work and then like clean it up. You know, this is a class. Eventually, I got to pick up the torch and braze some tubes together. Brazing is like welding, but at a lower temperature, you're melting bronze and silver to join the tubes together. It's a really difficult process, and I spent almost an entire day practicing on a scrap tubing until Koichi said I was ready. Although he had lived in the US for almost 30 years, Koichi's English wasn't so great. His accent was strong and his vocabulary was a little limited, but after teaching for many years, he figured out how to get his point across. My favorite was about brazing lugs. You can do the next slide. Or not that one. Whoops. When brazing lugs. When brazing silver into a lug, it's kind of like a socket on a tube. So you melt the silver on one end, you heat the other end to try to draw the silver through like a fluid, like a liquid. Koichi's way of teaching this was to mimic sucking on a straw and saying, "Thirsty, thirsty." You know, just thirsty. It kind of made a sound like that when you were doing it. So, for brazing, Koichi would simply start brazing on a tube, and then for a minute or so, and then have me try and mimic what he did, right? He's a master, so he would make these beautiful, smooth lines, and I would come out with a bubbly mess, but he would simply nod and tell me to keep going, so I guess it was all right. So towards the end of the 2 weeks, I had made a frame and I was in the middle of making my fork, and I had fallen into a daily routine of getting dressed, eating the free breakfast in the hotel lobby, and then a short walk to Koichi's place. On one of these mornings, while I was toasting a bagel, I noticed a stack of newspapers in the corner of the lobby, and they caught my eye because the front page of the headline said, "Rockpocalypse." You can do the next slide now. That didn't give it away. Oh gosh, lost my place there. Yeah, Rockpocalypse. So, anyways, it's covered the highway. Turns out it's the highway that I need to go home. I'm reading through the article, and it turns out it's going to take at least 2 weeks to clear it. But I figure the shuttle service is going to reroute, and it'll be all good, right? but later that night, I got an email from them saying my trip was canceled. So, the next day of class, there was so much to do, but I had to figure out how I was going to get home. So I went straight to Koichi and I just said, hey, you know, we've been working together for 2 weeks. I'm thinking, like, we bonded. Like, I'm his student, you know, he's going to help me out. So I tell him what's up. I'm like, I need a lift to Glenwood because Rifle does not have rental car places. It's so small. I'm just going to have to abbreviate here. So I go to him and I say, hey, you know, please can you drive me to Glenwood? I have to get a car. I have to fly out tomorrow. Like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And after I finish my spiel, he just kind of quietly nods and then he says, no. So that kind of sucked, but whatever. So I ran to the post office, mailed off my frame. I tried to get to Glenwood. There's like a bus that ran every hour or something and did not make it in time. So next morning, I had to get up super early, get over there to get a car, and then what would have taken 3 hours on I-70, which was blocked, was now going to take me 9 hours because the only way to get back to Denver was like on little rural roads and whatnot. It was insane. You can do the next slide real quick. And that's me at the end of the class. I'm like delirious, and I got to figure out my way home. How about the next slide? So yeah, I'd never driven in the snow. I was all alone. Maybe it was a little bit high. Yeah, so I'm driving through the mountain passes. It was crazy. But 9 hours later, made it to Denver safely, flew home the next morning, and a week later I had my hand-built frame. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out again. Thank you for signing up through Eventbrite. It's really, really helpful to gauge attendance, etc. We have some fun prizes from some wonderful folks here in the Austin community. First, we have a bottle cage, a bike bottle cage, and a t-shirt from Chumba, local community or bike builder, speaking of, who you should definitely check out. CH up here. Cool. They have some really, really amazing bikes if you want to go really off-road and do some long-distance adventure kind of ride, cycling, bike packing, that kind of thing. But I have my lovely assistant here, Chelsea, who's also volunteered. Thank you so much for all your help. Yeah, you want to blow? Yeah.
All right, y'all, drum roll.
Get your tickets out. Also, we have wildcard storytellers coming up. We have one storyteller signed up. I know there has to be a few other folks who are interested in sharing. Yes, nudge your partner, you know who they are, and encourage them. The wildcard form is over there. Please share more stories. Okay. 564447. Awesome! Congrats!
Thank you so much.
Okay, our next prize, I'm super stoked for it. Just FYI, I love coffee. If you want to have coffee together, at Mañana Coffee down the street from here, we have a $50 gift certificate or gift card and a super cute beanie because it's that time of year. They're so sweet, so supportive. I also had this water bottle from the Bike Cargo event a long time ago, and I was like, this is perfectly new. From Bosch, if you're not familiar with them, wonderful components company and a lot of e-bikes. So throwing that in there. All right, who's going to be the lucky person? 564358. We have a couple more prizes we're going to give out. Don't worry if you didn't win right now, and you're all winners, of course, in our hearts. But once again, I highly encourage you. How many of y'all biked here today? What? Yes, that's amazing. So lots of stories there, opportunities, I'm sure. Probably biked yesterday too, so more stories. I see you out there. There's lots of like lovely looking cyclists out here, some that I recognize, some that I've never seen before. I would love to hear either of your stories. Some people actually own a bike shop here, so I know there's some stories in here, so don't be shy. We're all friends at Bike Story Night right now. All right, we're gonna have our first storyteller, our first wildcard storyteller come up. Letta Moser, come on up. Give Letta a round of applause.
See which one's shorter.
All right. Well, we'll adjust to vertically challenged people like me. Okay. So I'm writing under terrible conditions. It's the mid-1990s, and I am in Ireland. It's cold, it is wet perpetually, and I'm carrying 10 pounds of potatoes on my back because I want to make sure I can eat something as a vegetarian. This is meant to be a bonding trip, a vacation, if you will, between my mother and I for our milestone birthdays. I've just turned 16 and she's turned 50. And what better way to spend time together than doing something that we both love doing? So we took off to Ireland. But this is not a holiday. This is not fun. This is more like a bike reenactment of the potato famine and the hardships that endured. So as I'm focusing on just trying to move forward and not get blown back by the headwinds, my thoughts go back to some early moments that might have been clues that my mom and I were misaligned. A few days before we left the US for Ireland, I asked my mom what the plan was. Again, this is the mid-1990s. There's paper maps. No one has a computer in their pocket, and information has to be sought out ahead of time if you want it. So I asked her, hey, what's the plan? We're going, overseas for a month. And there's this vacant look in her eyes. Plan, she says. Like she's forgotten the definition. Yeah, what's the plan? And the silence finally kind of fizzles up, and she has some recognition after a few moments. She says, oh, okay, right, the plan. So we land in Dublin, and then 4 weeks later, we take off from Shannon. And our plan is to go from point A to point B and have a great time doing it. And my stomach drops because this is not an adult plan. This is a child wishful thinking, omitting all of the relevant details plan. And I need a plan to feel safe and secure. So I nudge her a little more on at least the highlights of what I need from a plan. Well, okay, but where are we gonna sleep, Mom? And to this she gives me kind of half answers. Oh, we'll find some bed and breakfasts, or we'll find a youth hostel to stay at. Clearly we're doing this on the cheap. So, we'll just find them. I have no confidence that we will find them. And this will result in just more and more and more writing. Okay, how about where are we gonna eat? I'm a vegetarian. Again, it's the mid-90s. We're going to Ireland where meat and sheep are like main food items. And her response is like, oh, we'll just eat at pubs. Now my mom's an omnivore and we'll eat things off of the floor. So she's I'm not concerned that she's not going to eat well, but I'm very concerned that I'm not going to eat well. So I pack an extra load of the miserable cardboard flavor power bars for this trip, thinking I might just not get to eat very much. And then I also ask kind of, well, what's our approximate miles per day? Or like, do we have a plan for rest days? Are we going, riding every day? Do we have like a day a week to rest? And I don't need hard and fast rules for this, but I want some general sense. And she just kind of says, well, let's see how we feel. We haven't even left the US yet, and I feel anxious, which is not a good sign. So I pull all of my energy, as any 16-year-old would do, while I'm in Ireland riding my bike, to let her know how unhappy I am about her lack of a plan and how miserable these riding conditions are. And to my complaining, in her standard upbeat way, she says, oh, just think of it as good training. To which I retort, training for what? I would never willfully ride under these conditions. This is horrible. That quiets her for a little bit. We have to take a ferry, and on this ferry, we use the hand dryer to try to warm ourselves. But 10 minutes into using this hand dryer that's very loud and noisy, we're told from someone from the outside that we can't use it anymore. So our little brief reprieve of warmth and dryness evaporates. And when the ferry deposits us at the station, I am hoping and praying that there's a hostel. There's something right there, right then, because I am beyond bonked. I am spiritually empty. I do not want to go any further. But further we go on because there's not a station there. So we ride another hour in the rain, in the cold, in the dark, and then we come across a youth hostel. And this is my beacon of light. This is my safety and security because it has warmth and it has lentils. Someone had cooked lentils and is offering it to me. And I think this is wonderful. So we crash there that night, and the next day we take a rest day. And we get to explore the town. And it's a beautiful little town in Ireland. And there's a vegetarian restaurant, and there's blooming flowers everywhere, and it's colorful. And of course there's sheep everywhere. And it's just a very lovely town. And the next day we take another rest day to continue to explore, and then continue to explore some more. And by the end of these 3 days, I finally feel nourished, like I'm ready to go back on the road once again. So as we leave to depart this precious little town that we found, I am momentarily warm and dry, which feels good, and we are sent off with an Irish blessing of may the wind be at your back and may every hill rise up to meet you, which isn't going to happen, but it's nice that they said those words anyways. And I think about how misaligned my mom and I's definition of plan were initially, but I realized that my adult plan would have never had 3 back-to-back rest days, ever. But that's really been the highlight of the trip so far. So maybe moving forward, I can relax my sense of adult planning to be more adaptable and flexible. But definitely, I'm planning the next trip my mom and I go on.
Thank you, Letta. That was amazing. Thank you. I'm really craving lentils now. So we have another wild card. Before I introduce them, I want to also encourage you all to stick around for what we call community plugs. It's an opportunity for you to share anything with the community here. It doesn't have to be bike related, actually, and if it is bike related, great. If you want to start a ride, or if you want help with something non-bike related, or you have a local shop or anything like that, this is your chance. You have 30 seconds to plug anything you want. So we'll get the line started here. I know one person has already asked if we're doing it, and we are. So you'll just kind of line up here, and you'll have 30 seconds, and then just kind of like rotate out. Also, just FYI, we're going to hang out at Cosmic Saltillo, so if you rode your bike, you can join the group ride there. We're hanging out afterwards. But let's have some more stories. Everyone getting a little less nervous? Thank you for signing up as a wild card. Jeff, I'm having a hard time with your last name. K-U-E, Jeff Kuhn? Kuhn, Jeff Kuhn. All right, really excited about this.
Hi, everyone. Let me know if you can't hear me here. So my name is Jeff Kuhn, like she said, and I live in Park City, Utah. I arrived in Austin tonight at about 5 o'clock and was just riding my bike around downtown here and happened across this event. And I got to say, it's just amazing. I have a bunch of bike stories, but I'm going to tell one that's longer than 5 minutes, but I'm going to compact it. Okay. So this one also takes place in the late 1900s. And at the time, I was 25 years old, and I started dating a 30-year-old woman. And she was very supportive of my biking habit. We rode together some, and she was always, up for me going riding. And then she turned 31, then she turned 32, and you know what happens to 32-year-old women? They want to start getting married and having kids. And so she's kind of putting the heat on me. And I said to her, as a way of sort of delaying that I have all these things I want to do before I settle down like that. And she said, like what? And I said, well, I want to ride my bike across the country, for one. And she said, let's do it. She really wanted it. So we started thinking about it, and we're kind of loosely making plans, and we came across in a bike magazine an ad for charity ride for the American Lung Association called the American Lung Association's Big Ride Across America. And I said, there it is, that's the one. And so it's fully supported, it's like wonderful, it's a great cause. And so we started thinking about that. And we go and do some research. And one of the gotchas was that we had to raise $7,000 to participate for the American Lung Association, great cause. So, okay, we're like, how can we do that? And it turns out we had to raise $14,000 because there's two of us. But that's okay. We'll just, hop on GoFundMe and get it funded. But this was before GoFundMe existed. And so we're writing letters and we're making phone calls, we're hosting parties, and we pulled it together. We raised that $14,000 for the American Lung Association. So that was great. And then, she got to thinking more about it too, and she thought, I don't really want to be trying to keep up with you for 49 days on this trip, and I don't want you looking over your shoulder and waiting for me and getting frustrated. So we came up with this great idea. We went to the Ibis factory in Petaluma, California, and we bought the last tandem that Ibis ever built. So we got it built up, we got it painted. This beautiful green called Young Asparagus. I still have it to this day. And we packed it up and we headed up to Seattle, where we met 124 of our new best friends, and hit the road from Seattle and rode across the country, spreading the word about the cause of the American Lung Association. Ostensibly that was the reason for the ride. And I can tell you a million little side stories along the way, but we made some great friends. We had some great times. It was just an amazing experience. And 49 days later, we rolled triumphantly into the mall in Washington, D.C., so from Washington to Washington. And it was just like one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And the reason I tell you is that just to encourage you to, if you ever have the chance, to put everything aside for 7 weeks or 1 week or an afternoon. Wow, I have lots of time. I encourage you to do it. whether it's to raise money for a good cause, whether it's to delay marriage, or whatever your reason is, pack it up and go ride your bike.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, we have one more wild card storyteller, and then we've got more prizes, community plugs, and then just a little wrap-up message. All right, Charlie Rioja, I hope I'm saying that right. Rioja, you? How I got into biking trail building.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. I'm just going to talk about how I got into cycling. I moved here in Austin in 1987. I had a bike. It was a 1980 Raleigh Grand Prix that I bought in high school. I rode it here tonight. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm sitting here looking at the stage, and I'm thinking about what's back behind here. Does anybody know where most of Idiocracy was filmed? Right here, at Seagull. Yeah, pay attention to the background. Anyway, I watched them build the set here. While I was commuting to work, every day on Shoal Creek to downtown from where my place is. And so I'm looking at this area, or I'm imagining what it all looked like back in the day. And I commuted to work for many years, up 5 miles a day each way, put in about 50,000 miles of bike commuting to work. And there's this one section of Shoal Creek, are y'all familiar with it, just between West Avenue and 6th Street? Shoal Creek Trail, that got redone a few years ago, really nice now. How many remember how it wasn't nice? For a long time, probably since the Memorial Day floods of 83, I think, or 81, 81. So many years, and it was frustrating to me. And so I kept kind of, I'd go there and try to cross the creek twice, right where the Monarch condo is now, between the ones that are right across from Seaholm, right there. So every once in a while I'd just stop and move some rocks around, and maybe so we could cross. And there was always a bunch of sand and silt on the trail right by the Monarch, because the trail didn't used to stay on this side and cross twice, between 6th and West. And I would just, about every day on my way home, I'd work on it. And one day I was just trying to get all this sand. Like every time it would flood, there'd be like 3 feet of sand deposited on the concrete trail. We're like walking in the desert, trying to get home or go to work, or just have fun going up and down Shoal Creek. And I had one of these bumpers on my fenders on my bike for the water to not spray you when you're riding in the rain. And it was removable, and it kind of looked like a shovel. So I was like using this plastic fender to shovel sand off this, like probably 10 dump truck loads full of sand, but one scoop at a time. So, and all of a sudden these guys come by, I got about 10 of them out biking, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, trying to get the sand off the trail." And it's like, one of the guys is like, "Well, I have a Kabuto tractor, and I can come do this, help you sometime." And I was like, "Well, how about Sunday?" It's like, okay. So I'm like scouting out, like, how am I going to get a Kabuto tractor down into the Shoal Creek? And back behind GSD&M, there was this little kind of accessible trail down to, so we drove it underneath 6th Street, barely made it under, it's took up the whole width of the trail, and we start to work, and he cleared a few dump trucks full of sand off the concrete trail, and then we're getting some really good progress. It was really looking good, and we're getting that nice trail uncovered that was built by the city, and we were so happy to have it. And it's a shame it's covered with sand. And then this guy shows up with a city badge and a clipboard, and he's like, do you have a permit for this work you're doing here? And I said, well, what exactly is the situation? He said, well, I'm not really sure, but my supervisor's on their way. And I said, oh, what if we left right now? So we left right now before the supervisor showed up. And then the public got to enjoy the trail for a little while until the next flood. And that's my story.
Big bag of prizes in there. So don't go anywhere. We've got community plugs. I'll just do one more prize while we can. All right, go for it, Chelsea. This is a really cute backpack with some passes to Mesa Rim climbing gym. A friend of mine who's very, very sweet, wonderful volunteer. She broke her foot, couldn't be here, but she helped us acquire several prizes. This is really cute, like sling backpack. So 564417. We have many more prizes, so don't worry if this wasn't you. 417.
No, I think that was.
Going once, maybe? Sorry. 564420. Yay! David, this is so you. You know David? Check it out. Cool. All right, if you're interested in doing a community plug, come on up and let's get lined up. I'll do one more prize while y'all are coming to line up. Highly encourage you to plug something you're passionate about. It could be anything, it doesn't have to be bike related. All right, Chelsea. So Liz Cruz, super amazing volunteer. She donated like 2 hammocks. This is one of them. Right. Yeah. Really cool. 564429. 429. All right, I'll let the community plugs come in, and then we'll do some more prizes, and then we'll say a little message and good night, if that sounds good. All right.
Hey guys, we met before. I'm Thomas. I work for Gisalo's Cycling Initiative. If you're not aware, it's a local nonprofit for bicycling education and advocacy. We do all sorts of really cool stuff. I mean, primarily we're in AISD schools, we're doing after-school bike clubs, we do like skills challenges and bike rodeos. We're trying to get people on bikes, right? We also do adult programs. The city contracts us to put on rides. We just worked with the library recently to do Pedal to the Poles. It was awesome. Yeah, that's right. So my point is, we're always looking for volunteers. If you guys are interested in working with us, you know, it could be a single event, and you can sign up to run a bike club with me. If you've never ridden with a group of children before, you've never felt cooler than when you're riding your bike with kids, because just taking your hand off the handlebars, they're like, how are you doing that? So go to gisalo.org, and at the top there's like a volunteer button somewhere on there, I don't know. But anyways, come ride.
Hi again. I'm going to try to do 2 real quick. If you like books and you like gay stuff, check out the Little Gay Book Club on Instagram. It's the Little Gay Book Club. Really awesome people. The other thing is Valerie has like 15 different projects that she does, including this, but there's also a writing group called Spokes, E-Folks. It's for women, trans people, femmes, non-binary folks, any marginalized genders. There's ally rides if you're a cis dude, so keep an eye out for those too. It's Spokes, letter Y, FOLX on Instagram. Thank you.
Hey, y'all, my name is Robert. I'm a volunteer with Rethink 35. Yeah, all right, y'all know. So, Star Seeds just closed down at their current location forever until they find a new one. So the effects are real and it's happening. We are still in the fight. We are fundraising for our lawsuit. We made a lot of good progress and we need more help. So if you go to rethink35.org/lawsuit, or there's a link to it, rethink35.org. We are trying to fund our testimony experts so that we can sue the hell out of TxDOT and get our city back. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris. You might remember me from the hallway where I asked some personal information about you. I am here tonight to plug Austin Bicycle Meals. So, yeah, we got one person asked. So Austin Bicycle Meals, maybe you're looking to volunteer and you know, wanted something with like a commitment that you can kind of choose to occasionally go to as much or as little as you want. So we meet up once a week on Saturdays and every other Wednesday. And so as the name kind of implies, we're based in Austin. We're delivering meals on bicycles. So if you want to volunteer, if you want to not only like know that you're making a difference, but interact with the people that you're making a difference, and like physically see the change that you're going to create in the world, Austin Bicycles is doing it by taking food that a few groups like Our Shared Kitchen, Food Not Bombs are preparing, and then distributing to people. So check them out on Instagram at Austin Bicycle Meals. It is the most lovable group of people you're able to distribute food with. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emily, and I'm here to plug Austin Urbanistas. There's a couple of us in the audience. Wow, I'm nervous. We are a group of like femme-identifying people who like to explore the city through fun events, and generally we all have an interest in like advocating for more and better bike lanes and transit and affordable housing in the city. But really the group is just kind of a social club to get together and explore the city through fun activities. So like last year we did a walk in the 37th Street lights. If you know about those, yeah. And we like made fishing boards beforehand. And we did a group bike ride to see the Silver musical. And this Sunday we're going to check out the East Austin Studio Tour. So we're going to meet at Dark Horse on Cesar Chavez and then walk around together. So you can check us out at urbanistas_ATX on Instagram or come find me afterwards. Thanks.
Hi again. Charlie Ryu. I'm also, in addition to what I did in the past with keeping the urban trails open, I've been a long time member and board member as well, and participant in the Austin Ridge Riders Mountain Bike Club. How many mountain bikers do we have out there? Right? Well, to conduct. So we got some fellow mountain ducks been involved with Ridge Riders a long time in the past, and Laura and a bunch of other folks. Anyway, we're an education nonprofit that's been around since 1987, which happens to be the year I moved here. I didn't get involved right away, but education's our big deal. We teach mountain bikers, people who want a mountain bike, how to mountain bike. We have regular weekly rides to learn that skill. And we break up into groups by ability and speed preference. And also we're here to educate the rest of the world. We're educating our own users to have trail courtesy for other trail users. Mountain bikes yield to everybody else on the trails. We know a lot of mountain bikers don't do that. That's why we're here to educate them. And we're here to educate everybody else about what mountain biking is, and also just about the environment we're in. I've been doing a lot of reaching out to educate our own mountain bikers about the natural world we're in. And then I did habitat restoration yesterday on some bird land, and some mountain bikers, I guess, used to badmouth the birds, but I'm like, come on guys, prefer my So anyway, that's my point.
Hello, everybody. My name is Drew. Ironically, we've never met before, but this upcoming Sunday, I've partnered with the Austin Ridge Riders. We're hosting a Dig and Demo Day at Walnut Creek Metropolitan Park. So it's, I work for Specialized Austin. We're going to have all the newest, latest, and greatest, coolest state-of-the-art mountain bikes out there for a free demo. From 8 to 10, we're going to do 2 hours of trail work on the trails and cut back some overgrowth, build some cool stuff, and then test out some mountain bikes on those trails that we just worked on. So join us this Sunday, November 17th, Walnut Creek Metropolitan Park from 8 to 10 for the trail work, 10 to 4 for the demo.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt, and we're in the library, so you may already know about this, but the Texas Book Festival is happening this Saturday and Sunday. People are already planning to go to that? Awesome. It's definitely a good thing to ride to because parking can be very hectic trying to get near the Capitol, but it's going to be happening all day, Saturday, Sunday, and they closed down part of Congress, like from the Capitol down to 6th Street, and there's tons of books, tons of authors, really awesome panels, so check it out.
Hi, y'all. So I just want to do a quick plug for Austin Yellow Bike, otherwise known as Yellow Bike Project. Yeah, so if you're looking to get a used bike or learn how to build a bike, do all these fun rides people are talking about, please swing by. It seems like there are a lot of fans in the room, but if you haven't stopped by the shop, please do. We're off Weberville, or give us a Google, and we have volunteering opportunities as well. So please give us a visit.
Hello, I'm Karina, and I'm with Social Cycling Austin. I just want to remind people that tomorrow we have our weekly Thursday night social ride at Festival Beach. So every day, rain or shine, even on Thanksgiving.
Hello, everyone. Just a quick question. Who here likes trees? So I work with a nonprofit called Tree Folks, and we are giving away a lot of trees this year. So if you are available this Saturday at the Dock Springs Rec Center, we'll be giving away 750 trees for anyone that wants them. We will have different varieties. Or in case you are too busy or you're unable to go pick up your tree, go visit the website treefolks.org/NW, and you can have your trees delivered to your home. So that's another option. We have 3,000 trees to deliver for home, so please sign up, adopt a new friend. Thank you.
Howdy, friends and neighbors. My name is Zach Faddis. I'm the president of Aura. We're the Austin Urbanist Association. The basic spill is that Austin is becoming an increasingly expensive place. That's primarily because we make it illegal to build the number of homes necessary for people that want to live in Austin. So we have to keep building more homes throughout the city. And as we become a more affordable, more denser, more friendly place, we need to invest in non-car forms of transportation, because cars are a very silly way to move many people through a small area. We're an all-volunteer grassroots nonprofit. We are focused in the city of Austin. It is surprisingly easy to be powerful in the city if you're willing to knock doors and show up in city council, and we're a regular force there. In the near future, we're going to be getting Mike Siegel elected in District 7. After those elections, in the upcoming year, we're going to be making sure the city prioritizes transit with State Streets, hopefully enacting the City League plan to convert more of our roadways to bicycle and bus lanes. We're going to be legalizing housing throughout the city. And yeah, it's an exciting time. There's a lot going on. We need volunteers. If you're interested in being part of the amazing political change that's happening here in Austin, making us more bikeable, transit-friendly, affordable place, come talk to me and I'll let you know how you can be powerful at City Hall.
Hello, I'm Daniel. I help organize Austin Bicycle Meals. Thanks, Chris, for the shout out earlier. I'm actually here to plug one of our community partners, Food Not Bombs. They need volunteers for people who want to cook food and help them serve food. They're a really great group of sort of fight the establishment kind of people. They do a lot of work rescuing food from grocery stores. All of their meals are vegan, so if you prefer to do your volunteering off of a bicycle, please give them a look. They're on Facebook. That's the best way to contact them. Thanks.
All right, we have 3 minutes to wrap it up. My name's Valerie again. I am on a mission to help people share their bike stories, memories, adventures, and more in person and online. I wish I could speak as perfectly as Zach, but I'm going to try. This organization is essentially a grassroots organization, and it really relies on volunteers and support from our community. So if you're interested, you can go to our website and you can check it out and learn how you can support us and help us grow. This event means so much to me. I don't ever want to stop doing it, really. It fills my soul on so many different levels. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll follow us. I hope you'll stay connected, reach out with any questions, come to our next event, sign up to volunteer, sign up to share your story, encourage other people to share their stories, because really staying connected, especially now, is very, very important. So please, please, come to our next event, reach out with any questions. That's pretty much it. I don't usually do this, but I'll take one question, and just in case. Okay.
Why did the event start at 7:27?
This is a great question. So Jordan really started this we organized this Ride Sunday cruise on Sundays, and he just started making the specific time on Facebook to start our events at this time. I think the reason is, Jordan can probably answer this better, but it's kind of like a way to catch people's attention a little bit more, kind of like ingrain that in your head. You're probably going to remember something like that, so, keep it weird. Have fun with it. Stick around, we have a couple more prizes. There's so many more prizes in this bag right here. I can't thank you enough, and I can't thank APL enough. We'll be reposting and, continuing to post about Major Taylor for the next couple of weeks as well. Thank you, Dalton, for stepping up for Chris. Stick around. We have some more prizes, but honestly, I can't tell you what an honor it is to be here at the public library, and I'm glad that the showing was so amazing. So thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. Okay, ticket number 564338. We're gonna go fast. Pull out those tickets.
It's a blanket.
The blanket!
We have another hammock. It is totally hammock weather now. Let's go. 564387, 564388. Friends, sorry, they were stuck together. Two prizes. Yeah. Is your
Wait, what was
388 and 387.
387. Yes. I believe this is a fanny pack.
Wait, are you here? 388? No? 388. Thank you again for coming, y'all. Appreciate you. Thank you again to Liz. Thank you to volunteers. 564443. 564443.
No hammock for them.
564348. I think Thomas also has one more announcement. Yeah. Wait, what was that? What was that? Oh my gosh, wait. We have one more prize here. This is a free Austin Austin Bike and Brew ATX. All right. 564431. No. 564431. 564419.
419.
4419. Karina is a ride leader who's probably been on so many bike tours herself and led bike tours essentially. Now she gets to go on one. Yay! We love you, Karina. At this moment, no, but now I know. You know, next event we're going to have some more hammocks. Hopefully we'll have our next event in a couple of months. Thank you once again to volunteers. Jordan, I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Really couldn't do this without you, Jordan. Thank you. Yeah, please visit our website. Stay in touch. Thomas has a note also. This will be.
Yeah, thanks guys. Awesome time. We are going to Cosmic Saltillo, I think it's called, just off the trail. We're about to head out there. So I'm going to lead a ride. It's going to be real simple. We're just going to go down the trail to Cosmic. So please join us if you want to come hang out, hear more stories with some beer mixed in there. If your bike's in the bike corral, we're gonna meet up in the front of the building here, and then we'll take off on west and come back around. So join us or not. Have a great night.